It's another huge week of new releases with some long in development and highly anticipated titles, so let's begin with Don't Lose Aggro, a brutal single-player roguelite where you master the art of tanking in simulated MMO raids, protect companions from waves of enemies by forcing them to attack you instead, attacking them to hold their attention or to use taunts to pull their focus away from your allies. Companions fight alongside you with a variety of abilities where you have to keep them alive for powerful bonuses, but can also choose to let them die if you want a more hardcore challenge. 4 tank archetypes are available in the Dodger, which evades incoming hits, the Blocker, which absorbs damage, the Kiter, which maintains distance while dealing damage over time, and the Taunter, who is the embodiment of Come At Me Bro, being a curious variant on the action roguelite. Ground Zero is a grim survival horror game where you play as an elite operative and partner investigating post-apocalyptic Busan 2 months after a meteor strike, which has mutated humans and other creatures. This is classic survival horror, having fixed camera angles and pre-rendered backgrounds, which does create tension due to limiting your field of view. Combat demands tactical thinking because ammunition is scarce and every shot must count, forcing you to decide between ranged and melee approaches. Explore ruined towns, abandoned temples, and urban centers, searching for answers while solving environmental puzzles, having a sick throwback look, which is very well done. This video is brought to you by Enter the Chronosphere, one of the most unique titles, since this is a turn-based bullet hell roguelite where everything moves when you do, meaning bullets hang frozen in mid-air and enemies are locked in place until you make your move, taking bold action while also carefully planning as you break into procedurally generated chronospheres filled with enemies and varied biomes, mix weapons, gear and gadgets from different worlds to create powerful builds, whether that's incinerating enemies with sweeping lasers, firing your shotgun around corners with bouncing bullets, modifying your chainsaw to implant alien eggs, or detonating your hatched minions like living grenades as you fight your way to the core. The characters and crew live aboard the Star Seer ship and have their own personalities and stories as they pursue the galaxy's greatest threat, all wrapped up with a psychedelic, trippy visual style and looks awesome, so if interested, try the free demo on Steam and wishlist the game. Alaska Gold Fever is a first-person simulation putting you in control of a prospector during the 1896 gold rush, which starts with basic tools and a dream to build an empire from nothing through mining and commerce. Explore 9 distinct mines across harsh terrain, each containing unique segments and valuable deposits that require careful management to extract safely. Tunneling requires careful support placement to prevent catastrophic collapses that destroy your equipment and resources, while your tools directly determine extraction speed, where upgrading equipment using raw materials dramatically increases productivity over time. Gold appears in multiple refined forms, requiring different processing chains to maximize profits, and deeper mine ventures yield higher value deposits but introduce extreme environmental hazards that will kill you if unprepared. There are survival systems such as temperature and hunger in place, with hunting providing sustenance and other materials like fur as well, looking like a promising one of these. One of the biggest new releases of the week is Cthulhu the Cosmic Abyss, a first-person Lovecraftian thriller where you investigate a mining station in the Pacific Abyss that has gone silent. Play as Noah, an agent for the secret government agency Ensil, and descend into an ancient sunken city which just so happens to serve as the high-security prison for Cthulhu itself. With your AI companion Key by your side, explore the vast labyrinthine depths and unravel the mystery of the disappearance of miners who ventured into the abyss. Detective-style investigation drives the moment-to-moment gameplay as you use the Vault, a mental evidence board system, to collect clues and reconstruct the fate of the missing crew. There are multiple endings to unlock, determined entirely by how you solve the mystery and connect the evidence you uncover. As you piece together the truth, your sanity deteriorates and distorts how you perceive the world around you, making environments increasingly twisted and hostile with some stunning visuals and grotesque monster designs. Love indie games? Sign up to my newsletter to get a weekly dose of what's hot, along with some news and of course, weekly game giveaways, so if interested, link is in the description below. Gunboat God is a chaotic 2D side-scrolling shoot-'em-up where you become an all-powerful gunboat carving your way through the waves while stylishly fighting hordes of monsters. Master hundreds of frantic just one more try missions as you hone your shooting skills and dodge enemy fire with lightning-fast reflexes. Arm yourself with a huge arsenal of weapons including cannons, lasers, bombs, and the absolutely ridiculous vaporizer to tear through everything, upgrading them in multiple ways with unique super moves, devastating explosions, and armor-piercing shots that make you increasingly overpowered. Transform your gunboats on the fly to plunge into new depths and soar to new heights, having a cool silhouetted look as well as some impressive boss designs. This looks like all action all the time, reminding me of Love Rousers, so if you prefer more arcade-style action, this is one to get. Other games begin with Before Fate, a time-travelling survival adventure that blends retro 70s and 80s sci-fi with hand-drawn art in a really unique way. Journey through time portals to explore diverse worlds, delve into mysterious dungeons, gather resources and craft gear as you push deeper into the mystery of an interstellar disaster. You play as a researcher investigating the enigmatic Chrono Gem and collaborating with scientists from the Old Research Institute to unlock the secrets of the universe and avert an impending disaster. The crafting system is huge, giving you over 100 types of weapons and items to forge, making each expedition unique and letting you build your combat style from scratch. Explore locations ranging from desolate deserts to more mysterious locations, with each realm hiding new challenges and secrets waiting to be discovered, looking like a fascinating entry in this genre. From the developer of Rain on Your Parade and Just Crow Things comes Cleaning Up, a cozy arcade cleaning sim where you work as a new cleaning gig worker, taking on ridiculous jobs across crazy environments, declutter an apartment, spiffy up an old haunted mansion while dodging ghosts, or solve puzzles in an ancient temple to find and clean the treasure room, which sounds absolutely absurd, but that is part of the charm. Make mountains of trash disappear in seconds with super-powered cleaning tools and feel the satisfying joy of turning messy spaces into sparkling, organized environments. Vacuum, brush, mop and spray to clean, and as you complete jobs, you grow your prestige and earn cash to upgrade your tools and purchase new outfits before you take on new jobs, with the cartoony art style keeping everything light-hearted and funny. Dosa Divas is a spicy narrative turn-based RPG with a heavy dose of Indian heritage, where sisters Samara and Amani reunite after years apart to journey with their ancient spirit Mac and defeat a rotten fast food empire run by their estranged sister Lina, which has been rapidly making communities dependent on bland, fast meals instead of real cooking. Explore vibrant villages and battle corporate goons as you collect recipes and gather ingredients to cook meals that feed hungry villagers, which opens up story paths, deepens relationships, and reconnects communities with their cultural traditions. It has an active turn-based combat system, so timing button presses can amplify your damage and strengthen your blocks, having a rock-paper-scissors-like affinity system where you match enemy flavor cravings to 5 distinct flavor profiles, which breaks down their defenses. Harness spirit power to use unique character abilities tied to those flavor profiles, building up to a reconciliation and eventually eating one last meal together before saying goodbye. From the developer of the co-op furniture moving party game Moving Out comes Extreme Forklifting 3, where you play as a warehouse giraffe, having to use your trusty forklift and other vehicles to move and deliver pallets to their destination and solve increasingly complex warehouse problems. Drive a nimble 3-wheel electric forklift, a 4-wheel propane truck for heavier loads, or resort to the good old pellet jack when nothing else works, building bridges and traversing obstacles while jumping over gaps, along with operating equipment like conveyor belts and levers when on foot, looking absolutely ridiculous in the best possible way. The original INDUSTRIA drew comparisons to Half-Life 2, and the sequel looks to continue that, being a narrative FPS adventure where our protagonist Nora, years characters after escaping a parallel dimension in the original game gets pulled back into the pulsating heart of the artificial intelligence Atlas when she realizes that she cannot evade her past and must face the responsibility she bears for its creation. Explore, scavenge and fight your way through a mysterious landscape consumed by an ever-hungry AI as you uncover the truth about what you have unleashed. There are physics-based interactions and crafting, affecting the minute-to-minute gameplay as you upgrade 5 weapons with attachments like silencers, extended magazines and special attacks to deal with hostile machines. There's so-called robot body horror that features machine oil spilling and dismemberment, adding in more survival horror and immersive sim elements to the FPS and could be huge. I don't know how indie you would consider Last Flag to be, since this is a game studio founded by the vocalist of the band Imagine Dragons, so I would assume they have a lot more resources at their disposal as compared to a normal indie team, with this being Capture the Flag reimagined as a fast-paced 5v5 third-person team shooter. Work with your team to hide the flag, hunt down the enemy's flag, then capture and defend it for 60 seconds to win, which demands strategy and teamwork. Select from a cast of 9 contestants, each armed with unique firepower and signature abilities used to outwit and outgun the competition. It will have a variety of maps, from a ghost town to cozy mountain village, ancient temples and more, looking alright, so here's wishing them all the best, since this is notoriously one of the most difficult genres to break into. Another game using the game show framing this week is LUCKROT, a roguelite FPS set in a dystopian world where you're taking part in a live stream game show where your life is a performance and death is content, forcing you to obliterate waves of deformed mutant freaks to earn donations from your audience, which you then gamble away for upgrades that keep you alive for the next run. You are thrown into the gauntlet filled with enemies and traps, where each room brings you closer to death, but the further you get, the more viewers arrive to witness your inevitable demise, and the spectacle of multi-phase boss fights becomes increasingly insane. Between rooms, you enter the hub where you pay your taxes and gamble your hard-earned cash, having a cool throwback look that is very fitting for the setting. Moses and Plato Last Train to Clawville is a detective visual novel where you play as 2 clueless detectives with heightened animal senses aboard the luxurious Clawville Express, tasked with protecting an ambassador on a fragile peace mission, only for your client to get murdered during the journey and become the prime suspect yourself. With limited action points each day, you must choose which passengers to interrogate, which cabins to investigate, and which leads to pursue, using your senses of smell, sight, and hearing to uncover the secrets of 12 travelers, each with dark motives of their own. Use a conspiracy board to connect clues and deductions, with the limited action points simulating time, so be prepared for disastrous consequences if you cannot solve the case before the train reaches its final destination. Oceaneers is a survival crafting colony sim set in a flooded world where you manage stranded survivors on sinking islands powered by float tech, an old world corporation's lost technology that you'll scavenge from island bunkers as you build a settlement. You'll harvest resources, craft gear, design rafts and fend off sharks while juggling the basic needs of your colonists, which means balancing food and water supplies while managing waste and spoiled provisions that pile up over time. Send survivors on expeditions to new biomes, research contraptions ranging from primitive tools to strange float tech devices, and slowly expand your colony by recruiting new survivors and building on the best islands you find, reminding me of the survivalists in more ways than one, and looks like it's for fans of the genre. Office chair curling is exactly what the title promises, where you push office chairs at a target, having to master the art of the slide and to use your broom strategically to influence trajectory, which sounds absolutely ridiculous, and it is, but is one of the reasons why I love indie games. Play solo against AI, challenge friends in local or online multiplayer, with crossplay between Steam and Playdate, or compete for high scores playing solo, also having 8 characters for some reason and amazing dithering for the pixel art. But for doing something creative, it is the hidden gem of the week. Pebble Knights is a 1 to 5 player co-op roguelite, which is a curious number in itself, where tiny but mighty pebbles defend their kingdom from nightly invasions by the Hell Fungus army, which means that you scavenge and power up by day, then team up to fight off the invading forces when darkness falls, all while stacking traits and building synergies that increase your power during a run. The charming, cartoony visuals hide strategic depth underneath, looking kind of insane and wacky, and should be fun with friends. Regions of Ruin Runegate was at one point known as Regions of Ruin 2, but I'm not exactly sure about the reason for the name change, perhaps being more version 1.5 rather than a straight sequel. With this is a side-scrolling exploration RPG hack-and-slash title where you attempt to re-establish a haven for a lost dwarven civilization, explore handcrafted lands, helping those in need, gathering resources, and fighting off goblins and monsters, which feeds directly into rebuilding your sanctuary by restoring buildings like the blacksmith and marketplace and recruiting unique companions to fight by your side. Shape your dwarf's fighting style through a range of weapons, from axes to crossbows, advancing up skill trees to unlock new abilities. There's also a management layer as you send workers out to harvest resources from explored regions, so if you love the idea of the high fantasy dwarf, this is certainly of interest. Relic Abyss is a bullet heaven roguelite that's mixing and matching a lot of things, from Lovecraftian influence to fantasy, sci-fi to magic and more, all wrapped up with a cute art style, creating this weird contrast that might just work. You explore a desolate yet beautiful world being consumed by the abyss, meeting fellow adventurers along the way, discovering ancient relics and forging powerful gear to defeat primal evil and prevent catastrophe. Choose from up to 20 uniquely designed adventurers with over 134 unique character skills, including ultimates, looking to have plenty of variety. While it is following very closely in the footsteps of Vampire Survivors, it is perhaps a little bit late to the trend, but then again, that makes it stand out a little bit more than if it were to be released in a week with a ton of them. Scriptorium, Master of Manuscripts, comes to us from the developer of the roguelite strategy title Inculinati, and does have a similar art style, but this time is more of an interactive toy, allowing you to create and decorate medieval manuscripts with no timers and no pressure. There is a story mode where you take commissions from prestigious patrons, but definitely leans more in the ridiculous and humorous end of things, from trumpets and bottoms, horses with human faces and more, which you can create yourself from a massive library of drag and drop items, illustrate battles and romances, decorate love letters and blackmail notes, design maps and masquerade balls, or just create whatever bizarre nonsense you want, essentially being Canva but with medieval art, and thus have its charm. ShantyTown is a relaxing diorama city builder which looks amazing, all about finding beauty in the day-to-day rhythm of life, where you stack urban buildings high and fill each little nook and cranny with your own touch, building a cozy little city that's unique to you. Inspired by densely built cities around the world, the kind of places where every wall, alley and rooftop tells a story, you're encouraged to build upwards, fill the smallest gaps and find clever ways to place light sources and decorations to bring your creations to life. Each location comes with its own twists and sights, from food trucks, neon signs or smokestacks being another interactive toy building thing that simply allows you to tinker and build. Simultree is a short incremental clicker where you are a scientist running simulations of small entities to understand them better, and these entities will yield points when eating fruits, but you need to make sure they don't die of hunger. Use your magnifying glass to retrieve these points and spend them in a skill tree to unlock new things to play with, whether that's more entities, stronger entities, a bigger magnifying glass, more genetic traits, or an automatic point harvester, continuing the trend of incremental games, and looks pretty good. Sintopia is a darkly comedic strategy and management sim where you run the underworld's most dysfunctional punishment facility as a freshly promoted middle manager of Hell Incorporated. Your job is simple: re-educate sinners, resurrect the worthy, and turn eternal damnation into an optimized business machine while managing the endless stream of sinful souls arriving from above. Build sin processing facilities to perfect their automation, hiring eclectic employees to keep the paperwork flowing, and maintain a thriving overworld. You can show the humans who's really in charge by flexing your divine power through lightning bolts and spontaneous infernos, all while you shape your underworld empire across multiple layers of hell and decide what kind of deity you want to be: merciful, efficient, or deliciously petty. Another incremental title of note is Slay All Bosses Idol, one framed like a JRPG where you take a lowly level 1 hero, barely capable of handling a pack of lesser goblins, and forge them into a legendary slayer able to defeat the deadliest of foes through satisfying auto battles and progression. Your hero fights automatically, attacking enemies and unleashing powerful weapon skills that are tied to whatever you have equipped, but after enough users, these skills are permanently learned so you can swap freely between weapons and experiment without losing progress. After every battle, you earn currency to advance the skill tree, which features a variety of nodes from raw stat increases to game-altering passive abilities, having quite the throwback UI and is my kind of game. Smash It Wild Tactical Volleyball Roguelike is a turn-based tactical roguelite mixing volleyball and dodgeball in a fantasy universe where every match counts and losing means starting all over again. You take charge of a team of animals with varied abilities, each bringing their own strategies and synergies to the table, so experimenting with different team composition feels genuinely rewarding. Between matches, manage your team by upgrading players, equipping powerful items, and dealing with unexpected events that directly affect your tournament progress, with unique synergies to discover and combos to unlock as you play with the different characters, and is a neat take on the tactics roguelite. From the developers of Bongo Cat comes Tap Tap Loot, an incremental title where the world is under attack and every keystroke unleashes your cute cat hero, smashing enemies and showering you with loot in a never-ending desktop expedition. Create your own little cat hero and embark on an enormous adventure, typing your way through, being part game and part productivity too, as you have to keep typing to advance, looking simple in concept and pretty well made. I'm not the biggest golf person, but under par, Golf Architect does have its appeal, one part management sim and one part golf game where you design and manage your own golfing paradise by terraforming rough terrain into lush fairways, pristine greens, rivers and lakes to craft breathtaking landscapes. Build and maintain your club by constructing bars, pools, restaurants and training facilities, hire staff to keep everything running smoothly, and manage your budget carefully as you expand with new holes and amenities. Attract VIP golfers and grow your membership to ensure profit and expansion with the ability to play your own courses to test difficulty or simply simulate rounds to see how your design holds up and will be for fans of tycoon games. Valorborn is another highly anticipated title, a sandbox RPG where the living world moves on with or without you. Factions rise and fall, villagers follow routines and pursue their own goals, and every building, cave and point of interest can be entered with no fake doors. Become a thief, hunter or sell sword and survive alone or build a party. Whether that means stealing and selling stolen goods for profit, living off the wilderness and trading pelts for coins, taking contracts to hunt monsters, stalking the roads and ruins, or tipping faction conflicts in your favor to exploit the chaos. Death waits behind every corner with permadeath as a core feature, but risk, loss, and adaptation are what makes each playthrough feel rewarding. But do note that this is fully single player, so I'm curious to see the extent of the simulation. We Gotta Go is the latest friend slop co-op horror title of note, where you and your friends are stuck in a haunted mansion and desperately need to find the bathroom before your bowels betray you. Manage your GI meter carefully as fear, stress, and bad burritos all push your gut closer to disaster, where you can fart to relieve the pressure or make better food choices while navigating cursed halls filled with a host of horrors waiting to scare your pants off. Light up lanterns, wield wonky weapons, throw fancy furniture, and solve haunted puzzles to keep the spirits at bay, with cosmetic customization options as well, and could be fun with friends. This one's for indie game developers. The free indie game marketing resources are ready, so sign up via the link in the description below to get it in your mailbox. Win Rolls went viral during the most recent Steam Next Festival, estimated to have added over 300,000 wishlists, and is a pirate survival adventure set in an alternative age of piracy, with the classic build, craft and survive formula mixed with intense Souls-like combat and engaging exploration on land and on sea. progress through vast procedurally generated biomes filled with mysteries, handcrafted dungeons, and epic missions, establish footholds and build everything from simple shelters to elaborate mansions and fully developed forts, then recruit NPCs and grow your settlement to speed up harvesting and production. Captain your ship through brutal naval combat with boarding action and combat, being able to equip and customize your vessel to suit your playstyle, from a nimble catch to a monstrous frigate. So if you love Pirates of the Caribbean like me, I'm sure that this will pique your interest. Indie game fans might have come across Gunboat God, since this serene puzzle adventure platformer has been in development for a long time and finally makes it to release. Explore a forgotten archipelago through the eyes of a tiny gecko, climbing across sunlit ruins, weaving through lush caves, and uncovering the remnants of an ancient civilization at your own pace. I love the sense of exploration here as you tinker with the puzzles and uncover crevices and hidden paths, eventually allowing you to move between islands on a small wooden boat which is just the cutest. The relaxing atmosphere and intuitive blend of open-ended exploration and fluid platforming makes this perfect if you're looking for something gentle and meditative, giving me a short hike and Abzu vibes along with a charming visual style. Opus Prison Peak comes to us from acclaimed developer Sigono, and is the latest entry in the Opus series of narrative-focused titles, but all of them work as standalone entries. Here, you play as Eugene, a 40-year-old ex-photojournalist turned cafe owner who gets pulled into the Dusklands after an accident, a quiet and surreal realm of fading light and unspoken sorrow, where he meets a mysterious girl with no memory who only remembers that she needs to reach the distant Dusk Mountain. Using an old analog camera, you capture the perfect shot through framing, timing, exposure, focus, and filters to uncover the world's secrets and interact with spirits you encounter along the way, piecing together what happened to this world and why humans no longer exist. It does look awesome, having some Studio Ghibli vibes, exploring themes of love, soul, and self-discovery, and should be pretty amazing. This next title has gone viral as well, in which Mouse PI for Hire popped up around the time when Mickey Mouse went into the public domain, and is a noir FPS that uses hand-drawn rubber hose animation inspired by 1930s cartoons. This tells the tale of private investigator Jack Pepper as he works on a missing persons case that spirals into a web of corruption and conspiracy in the seedy underbelly of Mouseburg. There's a fully loaded arsenal of creative weapons, from crackling machine guns to experimental firearms, along with some unexpected violence, such as having headshots be a thing, but no jibs so far as I can tell. There are also traversal ability options that help you get around the city in interesting ways, along with an impressive jazzy soundtrack, so if you love shooters, this is a must-get. Replace has had a hell of a development cycle, first starting in 2018, so it has been about 8 years, dragged on by the Ukraine war, which forced the developers to relocate countries, which is why the release is of note this week. It is a 2.5D cinematic action platformer set in an alternate 1980s America scarred by nuclear catastrophe, where you play as Reach, an AI trapped in a human body against its will, trying to expose the sinister secrets of the Phoenix Corporation in a world where human life is traded like currency. Run, climb, and fight with fluid, precise movement through crumbling districts, industrial wastelands, and neon-lit alleys, chaining melee strikes with satisfying ranged attacks in high-intensity combat encounters. There are also environmental puzzles and platforming as you deal with the weight of understanding human emotion, with the pixel art here being absolutely on point, so here's wishing them all the best. Watch this video for more pixel art titles.